I was actually looking up other stuff when I just got sent here. That's what happens when you go with the flow and it takes you wherever it does. And we're talking here about the inner city of London, which is supposedly a different country. I didn't find it saying it was a different country, only that it was a little bit more independent with different rules in a different county. But when you think about it, you've got offshore accounts, offshore places where people put their money to save the taxes. This is obviously the reason why this place in London and New York and Italy had to happen, so that it just broke all of that, so that they didn't have to pay any taxes and stuff. It's obviously a reason. And in here we can read a bit about it in a minute. It does say it has its own laws. So that's really strange. It's not a country on its own, but it has its own laws. You can stop and read any of this stuff anytime you want. There's just a little bit of information, you know, that I stick it in. That's how I find my information, is by looking. But basically, because it is really strange that 3 countries we know have this. Maybe there's more, we don't realise it. It doesn't really want to separate them out, but anyway, it says here, I wondered whether the East India House was something to do with it. Remember when they were trading? This only finished in the late 1800s, and this could be how they were doing it, through East India Company, because it says in there that it ruled India. There you go, between 1600 and 1874, built the most powerful corporation the world has ever known, complete with its own army, its own territory, and near held on trade of product, now seen as consequentially, whatever it says there. I just want to read that again. Think Google or Apple are powerful? Then then you've never heard of the East India Company, a profit-making enterprise so mighty it once ruled nearly all of the Indian subcontinent between the 1600 and 1874. It built the most powerful corporation the world had ever known, complete with its own army, its own territory, and its own hold on trade of product, now known quintessentially as British tea. It says, as the dawn of the 17th century, the Indian subcontinent was known as the East Indies, and so home to spices, fabric and luxury goods, prized by wealthy Europeans, was seen as a land of seemingly endless potential. Due to their seafaring prowess, Spain and Portugal held a monopoly in trade in the Far East, but Britain wanted in, and then it seized the ships of the defeated Spanish Armada in 1588. It paved the way for the monarchy to become a serious naval power. So, the biggest corporation the world had ever seen. And it's very, obviously India is full of Tartarian buildings, which is part of this video. That's Tartaria, isn't it? So they were obviously using the trading company to do it for the laws. And obviously there's East India Company there. What's your thoughts on all that, everybody? And there was a Dutch one too. Obviously ruling that way, and this is probably how they got to the maritime law, by using this. And I got there because I saw that, and then it sent me to the Dutch East India Company. But what's your thoughts on this? So, looking at India, I came across this building and I was like, wow, look at the size of this house, look at the size of this building. Obviously it's been a school, and I read that basically they wanted to close it down because it had cracks in it, but they still had it open as a sort of boarding school. I think it's probably closed today, but just look at all this architecture, and it fits in with what I've just told you. Here it is here about closing it down, and because it's got cracks and things in it.
and it was also called the Lunatic Asylum. Bet it was. We all know that probably all the real people went there, and the ones that were telling the truth. But anyway, it just seems very strange that we were all mad and had to go to lunatic asylums. But anyway, there's a bit more information you can read there. But I suddenly just saw all this architecture. You know, like, I wasn't expecting India to be... I know that we had this influence there, even though they've lied about it all, and I've just done that bit of video to explain it was the biggest corporation ever. But I wasn't expecting to see so much old buildings. Anyway, there's a bit more there, just talking about things. But I was quite shocked to see so many Tartarian buildings. If you put India, Tartaria in, it doesn't really bring you up anything. But these things are there. And I mean, when I was looking at some of the pictures, you know, I was thinking, wow, you could have said that you were in London or New York. No one would have known the difference. They've got buildings like we have. The same. So whatever took them over as a corporation, took America over as a corporation, and so forth. Do you see the connection here? America in the 1800s was turned into a corporation. So was this place, a corporation. So they obviously use those corporations to run the countries. I don't know, it's just my thought. As you go through and just see these great big buildings that India's got. I mean, I was watching videos and the tower blocks look just like that one that me and James did, where the town is half empty out in Turkmenistan, wherever it is out there in the Middle East. The buildings are kind of the same, but obviously they're not saying Bombay is, or wherever we're at, is half empty. But that's the unsafe school. But I was just so shocked to see, I don't know, you would expect little houses or little communities because we supposedly ran it. And it was us that ran it. So we were ahead of the corporation in America and we were the head of the corporation here. It's really strange, isn't it? They made the corporations obviously to run the countries. Crazy or what? But the Queen still owns India. On my round, on another video I made earlier on, the Queen still owns India. But just look at this building. I was like, blimey, look at that. First of all, I didn't even know where it was. I just saw the picture of that sort of tree stump, whatever it is, that vine or whatever it is growing across the front of the building. And then I took a little look at Bombay and it's like, oh my God, look at it. See, look, that could be New York. Full of Tartarian buildings. I'm not saying, you know, they're absolutely everywhere, but in this place they've got these Tartarian. That gate of India looks older. Here we go. Old Tartarian buildings. Who would ever know that that was India? Crazy or what? Oh look, there's them building it there in the 1870s. As if, look at that, like, that scaffolding, perfect. These people knew what they were doing. Look at the size of that, that's the train station. Look at it. You don't just put that in for no reason. Obviously people were coming there or they're exporting, but it's beginning to look very European, isn't it? Or Western. I was just a bit shocked to see so much of it so Tartarian-like. Obviously, some of these buildings would have gone by now because they have to get rid of them, don't they? But look at that, it's even got one of those in it. So the same system going on there that was going on in the rest of the world. Same buildings. There's castles and things. I don't think they're all... that one's Dublin there, but there are castles there, big old castles, even older, but we're not going into that. But I was just quite amazed at seeing these kind of things in Bombay. Looks familiar, doesn't it? Anyway,
What's your thoughts? Corporations, countries, East India Company, City of London. What's your thoughts? I watched on this video this guy here talking about the fact that there's a proposal to dam up the sea and to make that sea, or due to climate change of course, and to save all those towns near the coasts and to stop flooding. But this proposal's there to go across. It's very deep by Sweden or Norway, whichever one that is. And then and what it would do is that now that wouldn't be a sea, an open sea, it'd be more like a lake. So it would change the dynamics of what was in the water, because it would be, you know, that's what they said. But they want to they want to dam it all up. Like, does that remind you of Doggerland? Maybe that's what it was. Maybe they dammed it up before. That's what they did. It was more like this, rather than I don't know why Ireland's not included on that one, but maybe being quite close to us on one side, I don't know, but that's what they want to do. Isn't that absolutely incredible? That would cost so much money to do, changing the environment about where we live, and I just don't understand, because we wouldn't have beaches the same. Would the water roll up? We wouldn't have waves. Ugh. Is this what Doggerland was? Was something like this? Anyway, what's your thoughts? I just came across this, because obviously that's the shipping routes. A lot of ships use the route by England and stuff, but what's your thoughts about this proposal to dam up the water? Does it sound a bit like Doggerland? You know, what they might have done there, and then it broke or whatever. Anyway, what's your thoughts? The video's finishing now. Thanks for listening and watching. Let me know your comments. I don't think people realise that a lot of this Roman stuff is still here. Some of it is ruins, some of it is really, really ruins. You know, some of it is just ruins in the fact that it's vacated and left there, and others is that it is falling down, but it's still there. We're looking at Roman technology, we're living in it. It's some of our houses. Yes. Anyway, that's my whole point about this video, was to say that a lot of this architecture is still here, thousands of years later. Through earthquakes, it's still here, even if some of it is a bit damaged or very in ruins. That. A Roman Empire apartments. Not much different really to today's houses, is it? Anyway, I'm just going to show some more pictures, and we're just going to let the rest of the video continue, and tell me what your thoughts are when you... Oh, very quickly we'll do this bit. The different types of monarchies. Oh yes, there's the one with the Commonwealth, and then the others.
damn things, damn laws, damn maritime. Yeah, anyway, we're going back to the Roman villas and we'll just finish looking at a few photographs, and everybody tell me what you think. That you might not have even noticed or realised that we're living in it still. Some of it is ruined, some of it's a spectacle, some of it's we go and visit and pay to see, and others are there and we're living in them. Thanks for watching. Well, as always, being researchers, rah-de-rah, me and Amy were just talking about ships in the deserts, and I just went over to the computer and I started looking up, and I don't know what I was going to find, because obviously we don't know nothing. And what it was is that I came across this place in Uzbekistan, and basically it used to have, this river used to flow into it, and supposedly it comes via, or comes from Russia, and they've banked it all up and, you know, redirected the water, and now nearly the whole sea or lake has dried up and there's all these ships left. So basically they're in a desert. So obviously deserts used to have water in them.
Yes.
Because this is all a desert now, where I think that's incredible. It's not even gone back to land or whatever. It's just desert, just sand with these ships in it. And it was 26,300 square miles. That's a lot of water gone.
Oh, it sure is.
And so what it is they want the water back, but they can't because they haven't got enough money to fight Russia for it.
Yes, it's terrible.
It's just so weird, like going there and seeing, like, if I could go there and see all these ships sitting there, and actually it's because it was with water and it doesn't have any water now.
I know.
And obviously these ships got left there. And you can stop and read any of this information as we're whizzing through it, because obviously I've looked at a bit of it. So it says here that it was the most catastrophic environmental disaster that happened.
Well,
I think, imagine those people living there. I mean, I told you there's a plan. I haven't put the video out yet, but where they want to bank off the water so that basically from the Shetland Islands across to Norway or Sweden, whichever one it is, and then down from England, the Scilly Isles to France, and then that would make that a lake and change its whole environment. I just think they must have been doing these things over and over again and changing our landscape, calling it the
what do you call it, global whatever crap they want to call it, global warming, when actually it's them doing it to us. They're changing the water. They're, you know, like this whole... Anyway, so basically there's signs left. So this one shows a fish on it, because originally in the 60s, only the 1960s, the water came there, the boats came in and they did all this fishing there, and they said, there you go, 40,000 people worked at its peak. That's a lot of people, isn't it?
It sure is,
I don't know if they're
yes.
telling us the truth on that, but you know,
Right.
just if you take their information, and now it's a desert.
Yes.
Absolutely. So that's the end of it. But absolutely, you're like, oh my God, I never heard of this. And so it was an environmental disaster. We haven't heard about it at all. They're not talking about it at all.
That's right. Once again, yes.
And what it was is I was hoping to find a lot more with this then, because I thought, well, this can't be the only place. But I didn't really find anywhere else. We're just going to look at some more pictures from this. But there is somewhere else that me and Amy are going to talk about in a minute. But anyway, yes, I have to find that agree thing. I was just signing the agree thing. I didn't edit that out, but never mind. The desert. Greetings from the desert of ghost ships. Incredible. Rusting away
Yes,
since the
it's-
1960s. But I mean, they diverted a whole river. It's thousands of miles big.
I know, it's just incredible.
Yeah, it is. That's the sign to show that they used to have fish there, and not even that long ago. And there is a picture of all the water that's gone. Just get rid of all the adverts. Don't worry about the adverts. They're everywhere. You can't get rid of the bloody things. But
I know.
look how much water went. I mean, that's incredible. Wow. I don't even know why, as it's inland. I suppose the ships would be going from port to port, wouldn't they? Dropping stuff off. But now you can just walk there. It might take quite a long time, but yeah, you can walk there. Oh dear, another one of those things. I don't want to subscribe. But wow. Quite incredible to... It's not, you know, because obviously I thought there was ships in the desert, but it's the fact that they took all this water's gone.
Yes.
They're blaming Russia for it.
Right.
Because right, they say Russia diverted a lot of the lakes and things that came into this. But, oh no. Anyway, you can see the ships there, so it's just a few more places reporting it. Absolutely cool. There's someone that's put their name on it. It says 1993, so it's obviously been there for a while.
Yeah.
Incredible. But it's all Russia's fault. Anyway, we're just whizzing through these pictures because we've got another bit to go to in a minute. But I just find that, like, wow. They don't remember saying that, what a disaster it was for these people.
I know. I never heard about
Look
it.
at that water. All that water is gone. There's just a little bit left, right? So say it's 10 parts. There's like 1 part left. Maybe 2 parts out of 10. But the rest is gone. I mean, most of it is gone.
Well, it's awful.
I think that's where it is about there. So that whole thing's gone. It's about a third of the size of... Well, getting about a third of the size of the Black Sea. But, yeah, absolutely incredible. What else have they been doing to us?
That's right.
You know, all the things that they've changed without our knowledge, without our permission. They're supposed to be at our beck and call, but actually we're at theirs.
Exactly.
By that television. Oh, Harry's... Amy told me around, Harry's making a film. Yeah. We're supposed to get all up in the air about things like that, aren't we, Amy? And actually just want to laugh.
I know.
Right, I
That's
think we're
right.
going to the next one now. Oh, yes. No, we're still... Oh, this is it. The California. Go on, Amy. Read this one. We're on the California one now.
Oh, so the one about the Salton Sea.
Yes. You've got
Yes.
Where is it? Arizona. You've got a Salton... California, sorry.
California.
You've
yes.
got a Salton's Sea. So it's an inland sea in California.
Yes.
Go on, Amy, read your bit out. And there's words on the screen, but you're going to read yours out.
Okay. Well, it's an article from something called Our World, brought to you by the United Nations University. So that's this, but it's saying what happened here at the Salton Sea. And the person describes visiting there, and they said they pulled up just before sunrise at the Salton Sea, which is California's biggest lake, and it was an almost surreal experience. It said it was eerily quiet with just the sound of water, a few desolate cries of waking birds, and the sound of their Polaroid cameras. Abandoned and partially destroyed mobile homes, a chair in the water, a lone boot, a pink sink, and a barbecue are just some of the things lying around. It makes you wonder what happened here. And it says that at the beginning of the 20th century, as farmers set up shop in the hot desert climate of the Imperial Valley, they needed to tap into the Colorado River to irrigate their crops. To enable this, the California Development Company dredged 2 intake gorges without the use of floodgates. However, in the summer of 1904, the flow of water stopped as the intakes became deposits from the Colorado River. Another intake gorge was created. Omitted these years of water to be carried from a flooded Colorado River into the Salton Sink area, thus creating the present-day Salton Sea. And it says that geological studies show that the Colorado River spilled into the Salton Basin many times over the millennia, creating intermittent lakes. So the basin has a long history of alternately hosting a freshwater lake and being a dry, empty desert basin, according to the balance between inflow and evaporative loss. And it says humans are responsible for inundating the basin only once. But the Salton Sea is not just a story about the repeated failures of a human endeavor to control nature for human needs. After the sea's creation, the area enjoyed a few decades as a tourism resort and felt a boom in recreational fishing, but that was only until the increased salinity and pollution killed off most fish species, leaving the strange wasteland you see pictured here.
Well, the reason that we looked at it, wasn't it, Amy, is because they say that there's a ship there somewhere, but they don't seem to have it. But, you know, Christian kept talking about the mud coming, so maybe that's another reason why it's under there somewhere, because it's under the mud. But
exactly.
I can't believe it. The Salton Sea sounds like something from Egypt.
It does, and it just says that that this Salton Sea has become saltier and saltier every year, and which has made
the inland sea over in you know, the black. What is it? Not the Black Sea. You've got which is the Dead Sea. There's a sea. The one in Israel.
I think it is the Dead Sea.
Yeah, the Dead Sea. Yeah, so
yes.
That one's naturally salty. Mm-hmm. This one, they're saying it's got all these deposits from farmers. But if that was the case, then there you go. It's on the screen right now. Then everywhere would be like that because everybody's farming. Everybody's got toxins. It's all been leaking in. So all the rivers, all the lakes, everything would be like this. It's not, but this one is like that.
Yes.
I don't know what to say about that, but because they said that there's a boat, but they don't seem to find the boat. They say that there's like a 1600-year-old ship somewhere stuck out there.
Yes.
But I suppose if the mudslide came, like Christian says, then that might have been then. But it's amazing. I've never heard of the Salton Sea in California before.
Me neither. I had never heard of it either.
And it's strange again. It's somewhere where obviously people used to go and now they've run away from and now it's got loads of problems and now no. But I saw in some of the pictures of the sea that people were swimming in it.
Well,
You're saying basically don't go near this sea. It's really toxic.
Yes. And then people would be swimming in it.
There's loads of people swimming in it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I think of the, here we go, like this is, oh, there's a picture of the chair, but that some of the water is so badly coloured, it's like orange.
Yes.
And I mean, that one says it's collapsing there. I don't know about that, but look at the colours it is. I mean, it almost looks like we're on Mars now and we don't want to be going there.
Right.
And yet there's all this farming, all those green pieces of land there are farmers farming around this piece of water that's so toxic you can't really go in it, but I saw people in it. There you go, look. Oh, there's birds in it. Where is it? There's people in it. I'm sure I took a picture somewhere here. There's people in the sea. Where will we find it? I can't see it now.
Oh.
There it is. I can't see it now. Maybe we've gone past it, but there it is in California. I've never heard of that before, Amy.
I haven't either, Karen.
It's kind of between Mexico and United States, if you understand what I mean. It's sort of like, it's just above Mexico, and it's got Bombay Beach, so obviously people must go there for that. Salton City, Mecca, see, Mecca.
Yes,
Isn't it strange?
crazy.
Like, isn't it strange that some of these places have kept their names like the other countries, but nearly all of them have gone. Nearly all the names have gone, but here we've got the Salton Sea, and we've got Palm Springs, we've got where was it? Bombay Beach.
Yes,
Mecca.
I know.
But you can't go in it because it's polluted.
Right.
But you can see that it used to be. I mean, in the guy was talking about. I was just whizzing through the pictures. Obviously, the sea used to be much bigger and used to be all this round here, and now it's that big. But it's still an inland sea. I've never heard of that before, Amy, in America. Never.
No, I really hadn't either, Karen.
But then what's
I mean,
this
we
one here?
haven't-
Is that an inland sea? There's another like big pool here. I mean, what's that then? But they're saying the Salton Sea. And I say it used to be much, much bigger, but it's much smaller now.
Yes,
Crazy. We do find some crazy things, Amy.
we do. That's right, Karen.
What's your
But you're-
thoughts then before we go, Amy?
Oh, I don't know what to say. I just don't know. I didn't even know about this. You always find these things, and then you show them to me, and we start researching them.
Well,
So
this is
that's
two
cool.
environmental disasters. We've got one,
Yeah.
wherever it was, that other place, the video earlier on in the video where we were talking about all the ships left there in the and it's now a desert, all because the water got diverted away and thousands of houses. They said it was the most it was a catastrophic environmental event. And this one's not very good, where the sea used to be much bigger. Now it's very small compared to what it was, but it's still called Salton Sea, and it's contaminated. Like, oh my God.
Yes,
It's crazy, isn't it?
it really is.
I don't like this place. Is we live in such a beautiful place, but it's so ugly as well.
I know. That's right.
Well, that says about 200 miles, 370 kilometres across in the bit they're showing, and this is quite small. This thing might be only about 10, 15 miles long by, I don't know, it's not very big.
Yes.
Never heard of it in my life.
Me neither.
Oh my God, me and Amy have been looking for the bloody boat in this Salton Sea, and then I said to Amy, I'm just going to check on something at Bombay Beach, and there's the boat.
Yes.
And there it
Incredible.
is in the sand. It looks very desolate there, it looks very... I don't like any of it. Hang on, I'm going to show you more pictures of it. It doesn't look very nice. 1 second, Amy. You said that they're going to make it so that artists can do something there, but it looks
Yes, I
pretty sort
saw
of
an
run
article.
down and...
Yeah, that artists, I don't know what they want to do, but they'll congregate there, and I guess they have a bar that they've put up there, and
It doesn't look very nice though, does it? It looks like some nuclear bomb has happened, and this is what's left.
yes.
1 second, I'm going to show you this bus. I'm just going to show you this bus. Hang on, Amy. So there's a sort of broken down bus in the mud. That's bizarre, isn't it?
It is.
1 second, Amy, as I move her around. Yeah, it almost looks like we're in another place altogether.
Yes.
It doesn't even look that nice. I don't imagine. I thought California had places like this in it.
I know. I wouldn't have thought either. I think I was reading that they even use these places to film horror movies and stuff like about.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, Amy.
I know.
1 second, Amy. I'm just going to do this picture to show them this one. It says Bombay Beach is a resort that went broke. There was no attempt to remediate the homes that went bust, and a few people still live there. It sits on the receding, obviously, it's getting smaller and smaller, the water, isn't it? That's what's happening. Did you know that, Amy?
No, I didn't know it. No, not till today when we were making this. I never even knew about it.
No, neither did I. Should we have a look at the video? There's a video to this. We're gonna look at it. Hang on. Well, Amy and I were looking this up because it's just so bizarre to think that, you know, this place is vacated. Amy, explain what you were just telling me.
Yes, I was saying that people who go visit there, the smell is overwhelming. They can't stand it because of the rotting marine life, and I think even something to do with the salinity, the salt in the water. There's just a really bad smell. So that would contribute to the reason why it's abandoned, because the smell is horrible.
It's really weird. We get the Dead Sea, and that's very salty. No one complains of the smell. Everybody carries on. You've kind of got like the Dead Sea here. Everybody's complaining. Everybody's left, and it just looks like, I don't know. It's the sea is getting further and further. The place is getting smaller and smaller. That's what happens when no running water runs in, because that's what happens. That's what happens with the Dead Sea, isn't it? Because they're inland seas.
Yes.
But so basically, it's the salt lakes. You know, like why can't they just admit that? I don't know. It's all bizarre. It's just bizarre. You're just finding out all this stuff, and none of it makes sense.
It doesn't make any sense. That's right.
This place, it said, it's gone bust.
Yes.
I'm surprised everybody moved out.
I know. I think they're...
It's full of caravans. It's not full of houses. Bombay Beach is full of caravans and shacks. That's what it looks like to me. There's not many houses in there.
Right.
Crazy.
Oh, it is crazy.
You know, I've been to California. I don't remember my aunt telling me about this. I don't know. I'd be more interested in going. If I'd gone to America now, I'd be going, let's go see this place.
I know. That's right.
Anyway, Amy, we're gonna finish. We were just adding that bit that one of the reasons is that they can't live there is because of the smell. But
yes.
Do you believe that?
I think it could be true because around my area, across town from me, they had all these factories, and some of the waste from the factories would go into the river, and if you drove by there, like, the smell was overwhelming. So I think that part could be true.
Well, the thing is, the reason that you might not want to live there now is because everybody's vacated and left their stuff there and everything's rotting. That's what you're smelling. It's just old furniture, old clothes. This place is laden with stuff, and so everything will be smelling, not just the water. You know,
that's true.
But it's got that same thing again, like Bodie and Texana. They were there, and then they're not there anymore.
That's right.
It's like, I don't know, the government
thinks about other countries, and especially the Americans, about look how they treat their people, look all this. The same things are going on in America as they're complaining about happening in other countries.
Exactly. That's right.
This is just so weird when you see this place. It's obviously a bit bigger than this, and you can see there's quite a few houses, well, things there, and like those cars are from the 60s and 70s. They've all just been left there.
Exactly. Yeah, it's crazy.
I think it's just crazy. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to finish now, Amy, but we just wanted to add that bit in, didn't we?
That's right.
Yeah, Amy, I'm just showing just a few shots of this place. It's quite derelict looking, like it was a place that was, and it looks quite abandoned. You know, just like those places that we've been. I mean, there's a car driving around there, but it looks so. It looks like, you remember we've done one, Bodie and Texana, that have just, the people were there and then they're not there. That's the same sort of thing that's happened to this place. The people were there and then it's been left.
Right.
I mean, obviously a few people must live here because there's a car driving around. But basically the sea's getting smaller and smaller. You can't go in it because it's toxic. And then places round it have all shriveled up and died. This is Bombay Beach. This obviously was a place that was thriving. I'll tell you what we're going to do. I've just showed what it looks like here. We're going to look up in the 1960s, something like that, Amy, and see what happens there quickly.
Okay.
Let's just look up Bombay Beach 1960s.
All right.
I put into the computer Bombay Beach, California, 1950s. And here you go. It's much more of a thriving place at this time. Obviously, bits of it might be a bit derelict, but there was a lot more going on there then. Yeah, this is what it's like now, but it was more thriving. You had postcards and everything from there. Crazy or what, Amy?
It is, Karen, I know. Yeah, it was really nice in the 50s and 60s. But it's really
But now
bad
it's so
now.
toxic from the farmers.
Yes.
So I put 1950s. Let's put 1960s. Let's see what happens when I put 1960s in. 60s.
Yeah.
60s. Right, I've got 60s in now. Let's see what the pictures bring up. The same pictures. Well, it's really weird because they put the pictures that I've just had from the Bombay has gone from, it's gone from that with a bar to nothing, but it's basically showing you all the pictures as before, with all the broken down trucks, all the caravans stuck in the sand, you know. So let's have a look at 1970s, because obviously it's still showing that there's been a bit of a bit of a Salton Sea heyday history.
Yes.
Let's put the 1970s in, see what happens then. 1970s. Same pictures.
Same pictures, yeah.
Exactly the same pictures. So let's put the 1940s then. 1940s.
Yeah.
Because we hadn't gone that far back. So we'll look 19... I've got to put in, hang on, I've got to put in 40s. Right. Because we've done 50s. Oh, it brings up the same pictures.
Yes.
So when was it, when did it stop being,
I think it was the 70s is when it got really bad.
Do you think so?
I think that's what I read.
But it just looks like a place that was, and everybody's just gone.
Yeah, I know.
So alright, I'll put 1980s in and see what happens then, because I'll put 1970s in. That's 1990s, 1980s. Let's just see what it does. Probably just bring up the same pictures. Yeah, exactly the same pictures. Let's put let's just put 1920s for 1920s. Same pictures, Amy.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
It doesn't change. Let's put 1910 then. Yeah, it's not hang on, it's putting Amy down for a minute. It's not changing any of the pictures. The pictures are still the same. 1910. Let's have a look. Let's take that off.
Press that again. Right. Still the same pictures. I put 1910 in. It's not giving me up anything from 1910. It's just showing me exactly the same pictures. That's weird when it does that. So they obviously want to stick to the fact that it's all like. So obviously something was good here then, wasn't it? Because they've ruined it.
Right.
Never heard of it. There's a lot of farming there, and irrigation still happening.
Yes.
With the ship, we found the ship now.
Right.
It's at Bombay Beach. But I think would find loads of ships, wouldn't they?
I know.
I just think it's incredible. I don't like things like this. I mean, this looks like Chernobyl, if you know what I mean.
It does. It really does.
Reminds you of that, doesn't it? That kind of thing.
It does.
Yeah. Anyway, so up here you can obviously see I changed the time to 1910. Nothing. It's bringing up the same pictures, but a place that isn't anymore, just like the river that isn't anymore. See what they've done behind our backs? They're just dirty liars.
Yes.
I don't understand why everybody left this place. What? Because the sea was toxic.
Right. I think that's what they're saying.
The Salton Sea, Bombay Beach. It's like a hotel there. The only other thing is nothing, because I think it's supposed to be that bad.
Yes.
Exploring Bombay Beach. Go. Anyway, Amy and I are finishing now because we don't really know the answers. We might look into this a bit more, Amy.
Yes, Karen, that's right.
Because sometimes when you look into things more, you find more and more information.
Yes.
And people don't like to keep anything nice, do they? I mean, this just looks horrible.
Yes. And one thing I just wanted to point out was that it was, they're saying that the Salton Sea was created in 1905 by like a fluke, that the Colorado River was overflowing from a snow melt of an unusually heavy winter, and it spilled into this valley, a large valley in California, which was hundreds of feet below the sea level. And but some people say it was a mistake by engineers working on the irrigation canals. And since its heyday as a glamorous beach resort in the 50s and 60s, the Salton has shrunk dramatically, and the water level at Bombay Beach has dropped some 20 feet, leaving the water some 100 feet away from the docks and piers. A ghostly abandonment. This article I just saw.
Well, you know what that means? That means they've redirected the water like they did in the first part of this video.
Right. Yes.
For the water to drop like that, then they've redirected the water.
Yes. They redirected
well, thank you
the
for that,
water.
Amy.
Yes. Oh, you're welcome, Karen. I'm just kind of looking through at the information, and I came across that.
Alright, we're adding this bit to the video. Thank you, Amy.
Oh, you're welcome, Karen.
Just awful. Just awful.
Oh, yes.
Okay, thank you, Amy.
You're welcome, Karen.
Anyway, thanks for helping me. Just more pieces of jigsaw puzzle.
Yes, oh, you're welcome. My pleasure. Very fascinating, and more questions to bring up.
Yes, Amy.
Yes.
Thanks, Amy.
You're welcome.
Amy and I did that video last night, and I'm just adding this little bit. I was looking up the Dead Sea, because obviously the Dead Sea is really salty. Okay, and they're just giving you reason. They're just saying there's no fish in it, and you know, rah rah rah. And I just looked up a few things which you can read, because obviously the Salton Sea is disappearing and the Dead Sea is disappearing, but they're seas that don't have any inlets now, and both of them seem to have water that was coming in
and has now been directed other places, so no water's coming in, and then it's evaporating and becoming more and more salty. So that's what they're saying for both the seas, really. Yeah. That one's about the Dead Sea. Of course, they're never going to say very much, are they? Because they don't even want us to know the truth. But it's really ironic that both these places are the same thing is happening to them. You know, that they're just getting more and more salty, less and less water, and yeah, they're disappearing. But then they're if you read a lot more, you can find that it's to do with the fact that they're just making sure that the water's diverted away from these places. And you know, and when you look at the name, salt on sea. So it's a salty sea. So it's pretty obvious it's just like the Dead Sea, really. Of course, this one's polluted and rah rah rah, and people don't go in it. And the other one, don't swim in it more than 15 minutes. But anyway, I just thought I would add that bit to it, because I think that they're both very similar places, and the reason that they're going is because no water's coming in at all. So they're just drying up over time. But anyway, thanks for watching. This video, we're looking at sinkholes. Not sure what to make of these things. There's a lot. When they show you the map, it's all of America, but there's quite a few sinkholes on this piece of land, especially there in the middle. They're saying it's limestone. When we're built on limestone, eventually the limestone gives way. Anyway, these holes are appearing. These holes are appearing everywhere. Don't quite know what to make of them, to be honest. Sometimes they are happening because people have dug and not, say, filled the hole up properly. And sometimes underneath there are mines and things, and the land has collapsed for that reason. And buildings down there. Well, bits of buildings. You can see them in the rubble.
To explain to us, because I had the question, I'm sure others at home did, why are we not calling it a sinkhole? There's depressions, sinkholes.
Right. You think sinkhole is just kind of a common term. It's actually a really specific definition for what it takes for a sinkhole to form. It all has to do with the general makeup of the ground beneath our feet. The Florida Peninsula is actually a plateau of limestone, several thousand feet thick, that formed actually millions of years ago when the area was a warm, shallow sea. Kind of cool, huh?
The three layers we're looking at here are limestone, followed by clay, and then a sandy soil on top. The layer of clay generally keeps the water from seeping through to the limestone bedrock below, but in some parts of Florida, that protection has worn away, exposing the porous limestone. When it rains, the already slightly acidic rainwater becomes even more acidic as it moves through decaying plant debris in Florida's sandy soil. The rainwater will make its way to the limestone, and is then able to percolate through it. Over eons, this acidic water dissolves and carries away the limestone, creating extensive natural underground voids and caverns. Eventually, there comes a point where the land from above the cavity can't support the weight from above, and everything collapses into the hole, or sinkhole. This naturally occurring process is just one of many ways the ground can collapse or depress. And that's where we get the term depression. It's the gradual or sometimes sudden sinking of the Earth's surface from the movement of natural or man-made materials underground. And that's to say, all sinkholes are depressions, but not all depressions are sinkholes. Depressions can form several ways, including drainage of organic soils, broken sewer or underground pipes, and buried trash or other debris. While some holes in the ground can mimic a sinkhole, it takes licensed professional geologists or engineers to verify the true cause of the depression and officially declare it a sinkhole.
So at this point, you're probably saying, why does all of this matter, right? Depression, sinkhole. Well, because of that specific difference, if it's natural or maybe man-made, sinkholes would normally be covered by insurance. If you purchased a home around here, you know that. They'll send out a team to survey if this is a sinkhole area, and then the insurance may or may not then cover your home. So it's something good to check into to see if your area is particularly prone to sinkholes. We got a lot of
A neighborhood in Central Florida suddenly looks like the cratered lunar landscape. Sinkholes are opening up and forcing families from their homes. Manuel Bajorquez says the problem is underground.
At least a dozen sinkholes have opened up in the Central Florida subdivision over the past week, enough to drain an entire retention pond and force the evacuation of 8 nearby homes as a precaution.
We've been dealing with so much, scared to death to lose our home right now.
Crews are using underground radar going 80 to 100 feet deep to figure out a fix. Christina Carter moved here from Vermont last summer.
It gets bigger every day. How far is this going to get? How big is it going to get? And nobody's telling us anything.
People who live here say they started to notice something strange last week, what one resident described as water explosions coming from this now empty pond. It was these sinkholes opening up. Ocala sits in a part of Florida known as Sinkhole Alley, and it all has to do with what lies beneath. A porous layer of limestone that groundwater can break down over time, causing the clay and dirt to give way and anything above to collapse. In 2013, near Tampa, a man was killed when a sinkhole opened under his bedroom. Geologist David Wilshaw.
The soils and rocks have been there for millions of years, so it's just that the development has come into the area. What was previously just open pasture land is now obviously a heavily developed subdivision.
A worst-case scenario is that these sinkholes continue to lose ground to the aquifer below, leaving open the possibility they could continue to grow and eventually merge. Jeff?
Striking drone shots there, Manuel. Thank you.
Back now with that massive sinkhole wreaking havoc in Florida over the weekend. 2 homes destroyed after the ground just opened up. ABC's newest correspondent, Victor Oquendo, is near the scene in Land O'Lakes, Florida. Good morning, Victor.
Good morning, Robin. Crews have been very busy. One of the first things they did, set up a perimeter. They put this fence up. They took down part of it to give us a better look this morning. As you take a look, there's that sinkhole just feet away from where we're standing. And now as we look above from our drone, you can see all the debris inside part of the house that's left standing, that green bathroom, all that roofing, even a boat. And crews are being told they have to wait a few more days until they start the cleanup process.
This morning, a massive sinkhole just north of Tampa, Florida, swallowing and destroying 2 homes. Watch the moment neighbors captured this roof come crashing down. The sinkhole now stable, officials say. 5 homes remain evacuated, but now the big concern, water contamination. Officials testing the drinking water of at least 15 homes in the area.
How long before life returns to some kind of sense of normalcy?
We're probably looking at several months before we can get this back to situation normal for these folks.
Pasco County emergency officials calling it the biggest sinkhole in at least 3 decades. The gaping sinkhole is 225 feet wide and 50 feet deep. You can see from our drone all that's left of a bathroom, roofing, and even a boat. A disaster area now filled with mud, sewage, and toxic debris.
I see a big hole and I see a lake, and I see that we're in the middle of it, and that's probably not a good thing.
Sinkholes occur when limestone underground gets eaten away by water, creating a cave, and the weight above becomes too heavy.
Eventually, the arch roof gets so thin that it can't handle the weight of what's above it.
While this one outside Tampa is unusually large, sinkholes are a common problem in Florida, more than 3,500 spread across the state. According to the United States Geological Survey, over the last 15 years, sinkholes cost at least $300 million in damage per year on average nationally. However, since there is no nationwide tracking of sinkholes, they believe that number may actually be higher.
The water levels have come down by a few feet, but there's actually a car that's sitting underneath the surface that might be plugging the sinkhole. The cleanup process will take some heavy equipment, dump trucks, possibly even cranes. And officials want to make sure that the ground is stable before they get that process going. It will likely be months before this area is back to normal.
Hold your camera. Come over here with me. One at a time.
I don't think I want to.
No, let's come over here. Shit ain't going down.
Holy shit. Oh my gosh. I can't believe that. This is the Guatemala sinkhole, Guatemala City sinkhole. How far down?
55 meters.
55 meters?
Different parts of the park have different surface rocks. Why is this? 350 million years ago, it was under a warm, clear tropical ocean. Skeletons of sea creatures collected in the bottom, in layers. The sea became shallow and silty mud was laid down. Under its weight, the sediments were squeezed into limestone that cracked into vertical joints. Later, rivers washed sand into the sea. The mud hardened into shales, the sand into grit and sandstones. Then layers of younger rock built up on top. Earth movements cracked the whole crust along fault lines, and all this time erosion was shaping an undulating surface. Then in the last few million years, great ice sheets scraped away at the landscape. As they melted, they left sharpened peaks in some places and bare limestone in others. And the meltwater continued to run off over the fault line, cutting deep coves and gorges. Since the last ice age, humans have changed the landscape too. If people hadn't settled here, this would be ash forest.
Imagine the ground opening beneath you. This was China. The woman survived. In Guatemala, a yawning chasm reaches down into the depths. These are what are known as sinkholes. A highway torn open in Ohio. There's now a spate of these here in Britain. In Hemel Hempstead in Hertfordshire, this sinkhole appeared on Saturday, but today it's much larger. 20 families had to move out. Typically, Britain gets one or maybe two of these sinkholes every year. This month, so far, we've had 6. There are all kinds of reasons why they happen, but by far the most common cause is a sudden injection of water underground, adding so much strain that the ground literally breaks, just like here. What happens in sinkholes varies from place to place, but water is the key factor. Beneath the surface are the layers of soil, sand and rock. Rain works its way through and can dissolve some types of rock. Eventually, they reach breaking point.
There has been an increase in the number of sinkholes, largely due to the weather. The water landing on sinkholes washes the fine material out and causes them to collapse. It also makes the ground heavier, so if it's a bit unstable, it's enough to just tip it over the brink and cause it to collapse.
Across Britain, the red areas on this map are rocks which water can dissolve. It looks really bad, but some rocks are more vulnerable than others. Understanding this threat is vital. This is the M2 motorway in Kent. A stretch of it had to be closed. A driveway in High Wycombe earlier this month. The challenge is to know where's next. This house in Ripon is the latest to suffer, cracking open right above a sinkhole, forcing neighbours to move out. In Louisiana, the moment a sinkhole opens up underwater, it's strong enough to swallow entire trees. The months of rain here in Britain have created some potentially dangerous conditions. David Shookman, BBC News.
See, under there seems to be like pillars. So maybe other structures down there, or they've been built on top of other structures. And I wasn't sure whether that one looked a bit more like a room in there. A bit more sort of square. I mean, there's a wall there. And I mean, there's a structure there as well, with bricks in it. It's got bricks in that. And then there's a wall over there, and I'm not sure that bit in the middle, what that is. That's got bricks in it. And I mean, this looks like a square as well, so I'm not sure about that. So that was obviously something else. They're rescuing a dog on that one. And then underneath the road, there's all these bricks. I'm not sure what that is. I don't know if we had brick roads like that, or what that is, or I don't know what that is, but there's bricks there. Even a man sitting in the car. And then that looks like a structure there as well. And then there are tunnels here. I mean, maybe they have put these tunnels in under the roads, but there's tunnels there. There's probably one at the other end as well. 3 of them. And then I don't know what that is in the middle. Big sort of square shape there in the middle of stone looking. Anyway, some of them you can go down into. This one you can. And I mean, everybody's probably seen that one, the one in Belize. That happened a long time ago. So it can't be global warming that's doing it, because this one happened a long time ago. See, some of the sinkholes are appearing because there are mines underneath. That's what that says. So 12 families displaced after sinkhole explodes abandoned gypsum mine. And no, sorry, back to this Belize hole. What this article is just explaining where it is and rah-de-rah, and then it says that they have found some divers down there. I think that's what I was looking at that moment. I think it explains it just there about the 3 people who went missing in a group, but they found 2 of the bodies. Yes. And there's a little bit more information. You can stop and read it if you want. Yeah, and that's supposedly a picture taken, 3D map down the bottom. It looks like that. But then we do have sinkholes in the middle of nowhere in Russia. It's very strange that a lot of them appeared on that line on the other one, but these ones are up north. But I mean, something had to happen for us to have the mud floods. Maybe, I don't know, everything just collapsed. Like this, just like the mountains supposed in California to shore up the sea. That's what Christian reckons happens at the water. You know, it's just like they went pop, and then the mountains all had shred everywhere. Anyway, this is a town in Russia that's got sinkholes and problems and so forth. There is an old mine there as well. There's a sinkhole. There's another sinkhole next to that factory. I think it's the same place actually, next to the factory. But there it is with water in it. A lot of water comes up from down there, I've noticed, in all these sinkholes. There's masses of water just under the ground. And there's loads of places in Russia that get sinkholes. Another place there with a sinkhole. And I think that's all the information. What's your thoughts on sinkholes? Just asking. What do you think they are? Do you think they come from because there's buildings down there? Do you think some of them are natural? What's your thoughts? Leave your comments in the box below. I was trying to find the Nicolette people. They are one of the tallest people in Africa. But I didn't really find that much about them. I found lots of stuff about lots of people, including this girl. There's another picture of her later on in the video. She's not wearing a dress. When you first look at the picture, you think, oh, it's a dress, but it's like she's obviously wearing something else or not wearing something else. And then they've stuck that over the top to cover it up because that's just like a tablecloth. See? That's not a dress. It's just like a tablecloth put over to cover her up. And these people like umbrellas. Anyway, there's a taller person, but he's a Dinka. Remember Dinka, the tallest tribe in Africa? But I was looking up a video where it said it was the Nicolette people. Anyway, so I started looking at photographs and it just led me one to another to another. But I'm looking in the 1800s. None of these are modern pictures. Tell me what you think. Yeah, I'll talk just for a few more minutes because, yeah, some of them are beautiful, will look beautiful if they're what they say they are and so forth. So that's a Dhaka, Senegal, late 1800s lady. They all look quite civilised. Look, that lady's dressed like you and, well, like we would have been at that time. These are people in Africa. So that's what I was looking up, the Nicolette tribe, but I didn't really find much about them. Anyway, you know, these people were dressed like we would have been dressed. So how could it have gone so downhill? Not all of them, because some of them are from tribes, like these ones. But I was just looking at the pictures. I was trying to find the Nicolette tribe, but it didn't really lead me there. But it led me to all these pictures, which has helped make another video. And there's all sorts of pictures in here. Pioneers of France, the New World. Well, they mean New World Order. And it was here by 1945. That's 1893. So they're obviously getting ready. Anyway, I don't know. They did have suspension bridges, but that's pretty damn close to the water, don't you think? I'm not sure what to make of some of these bridges, or are they a lot older than they say they are? Some of the pictures have come from Facebook, and a lot of them I found myself. Look at that giant chair. Who would want that in their house? That thing would be so big. Well, anyway. And what it was is, this is the reason I've carried on talking, is that they were saying in here that the Red Indians were the tallest people. And one of them was 6'9", which isn't particularly the tallest of today, but it was in that time. You know, white people were 5'4", 5'5", and he was 6 foot something. That's from Africa, and the other ones are Indians. But when I looked at this, I wasn't sure again whether the two different coloured hairs, I don't know, things just didn't look right round his neck. I don't know. Colour of his face is different to his chest. Don't know. Sometimes these pictures, don't know if you can. Oh, my phone's going mad. Someone's sending messages. Yeah, another lady looking like us. From Africa. We're going back to the other ones, I think. This one's looking more Egyptian. Although, I don't think her shoulder looks right. But anyway, there was loads of pictures I could have chosen or gone and looked at. There's loads to look at on the internet. What I noticed also was that very often they have this background, but it's a fake background. Oh, that girl's not very happy. Is she? Or he? I don't know. You don't know if they've dressed him up as a man. Another lady looking like us. I'm not sure whether although they'll say they're Victorian, I'm not sure whether they're, I don't know. There's a whole section of Tartaria missing, so I don't know. Maybe there was the Victorians and then there was the Tartarians, but yeah. It finished by 1925, and it's probably all the same thing. But see this picture here? I don't think that picture's real either. So they could superimpose in the 1800s. So if they could do that then, imagine what they could do now. I don't know, it just doesn't look right. Maybe they just wanted a picture for their family, and this is what they did. But I don't know, that's not a real face. More Indians with their, and what it is it's like, look at the background. The backgrounds aren't real. What are they? They're in their teepees. Let's stick up the fake background to make it look like you're all civilized, and this is looking like the other pictures. So I just stick the background up, and it doesn't matter where we're sitting. I don't know. Anyway, I just noticed a lot of those Indians have those backgrounds which aren't real. And there's that girl with that tablecloth. It's not a dress. Don't know what's going on around her neck either. Anyway, shall we watch? Oh yeah, and like the size of some of this stuff. We've got no idea. This Tartaria, whatever it was, it could make enormous great things. And whatever it did was amazing. But I'm going to let the video play now. Thanks very much for watching. What's your thoughts to all these pictures? Thank you. Hey, I'm adding a little bit more to the video, and Amy.
Yes, hi Karen.
So we're just
hi
looking,
everyone.
thank you, Amy. I was just looking at this picture of this woman. She comes from, she's called the Fanta people, and they're from Ghana, but she looks Egyptian.
Oh wow.
Ghana, sorry, I don't know what I was trying to say then. But she's Egyptian looking in her headdress and stuff. Anyway, I was just going through these photographs, Amy, you know me. They just look so weird, some of them. And the bit I was getting to was like here, it says that they found this giant, but it was discovered that it was a carved giant from Fort Dodge. So they thought they had a Welsh giant, but it's come from somewhere else. But my point was about the Indians. They were the tallest people of the time, being that they were 6 foot, you know, like this one here says it's 9 foot, the mummy. 9 foot.
Oh my goodness.
Unearthed in San Diego in 1895. But the Indians were so that means the Indians wouldn't have been the tallest people, but they were nearly 7 foot.
Well, I never even really knew that until you had told me a little about it.
Why do they want to get rid of this giant here, right? He is 6'9". He was an Indian, and what they were saying was that everybody else was shorter at that time, so that's why he's so big. It's not the biggest height of the day, but in his time we were about 5'5", 5'6", say. He was 6'5", 6'9", whatever it was. That one's 6'2". So they were much taller then. But you just saw the other one where they found that mummy that was 9. Amy didn't see it, but you'll see it on the video. It was 9 feet tall.
Yes.
I was trying to look up the Nicolette people, then it showed me other people were taller. Then we go over there and they're saying that the Red Indians were the tallest people, and then they've got mummies of other people found in San Diego who were 9 feet tall. It's a little bit bizarre, isn't it?
It is bizarre, Karen, I know.
Bizarre?
But, yes. It seems like they wanted to get rid of the Indians then, we were saying before.
Yeah, I think that when these, and probably the ones that, you know, the 9 foot mummy, they were just getting rid of them all. Just getting rid of anybody that's not our height, which is bizarre.
Yeah, unless it was something to do with whoever was in control. They didn't want to have these really tall people that could pose like a physical threat to them, if you know what I mean, because, you know, it is a thing if you're bigger.
No, so we get given Trump, Biden and Boris, all with brown eyes and they've got blue, yeah.
Right. Yeah, and you know, it's kind of true that if a man is not going to threaten a man that's 6 foot something tall, if they're
unless what it was is they've come in and taken over and just destroyed anything that was, and they can't. It's all destroyed because then you're not supposed to realise that they were in charge or it was their land. I don't know.
I agree. Yeah.
Weird. Honestly, it's horrible to think. All the years you grow up and you think, oh, you know, well, yes, they're saving us from the rest of the world, and they're the terrorists, and then you work it out that we're the terrorists.
Oh, I know. It's horrible.
Basically, yeah.
That's about what it amounts to.
Amy, this is the bit about the hills. When I was talking to Christian reckoned that California was an island on its own, and then they had this massive someone went poof, and then all the mud from the mountains fell down and then covered up all the water. But then I said there would have been a tsunami that would have gone out. But just like that picture there with that mountain in Arizona, where you can see that it was obviously up on the mountain, and then it's like someone's gone poof, and then it's all dropped to the ground. So I'm wondering if that's what Christian, that's what happened. So it was just all the mountains, masses of earth. I don't know. Did they make it? Did they go, oh, we want a mud flood just here? They're done now.
Yes.
I mean, very quickly, because the video's finished. The video's going to carry on. But in here's some pictures of where, you know, that they're putting little things up and then they can make other people appear. Is this all just fake? And it's just all good? They were just so good at... Because they knew how to doctor everything, then they could make all these things for us.
That's a possibility too. I
don't know. It's all bizarre. Anyway, we're going to carry on. We'll just put the question out there. Amy, do you want to say anything else before we go?
No, I think that's it, Karen. It's just very bewildering. So
It is. It always is. And yeah. Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Amy.
You're welcome, Karen.